Right, so good day everyone. Today I want to present about our project of computer programming, DAE20103. And the title of our project is Smart Lib Library Management System. And before that, I would like to introduce my group member. So first is me, Russell Liu, AA251841. And second is Shahade Muhammad Afitri bin Rosman, AA251496. And third is Muhammad Danish Haika bin Muhammad Fuad, AA250980. And fourth is Ding Hui, AA250876. And last is Liu Kok Heng, AA250938.
The main objective of this project is to develop a library management systems that help librarians manage books, user borrowing, returning, reservation, reporting, and analytic more efficiently. In many libraries, managing record manually can be time-consuming and may lead to error. Therefore, our system is designed to simplify this process by organizing all information in a structured manner. Through these systems, librarians can easily keep track of available books, register user, borrowing activities, and overdue record. In addition, the system can generate reports and analytics to support better library management. Overall, SmartLib aims to improve efficiency, accuracy, and convenience in daily library operation. Next, I will explain the system specification of SmartLib. The system is developed using the C++ programming language and is complete using Visual Studio. We also use standard libraries such as IOStream for input and output operation. For data storage, the system using parallel arrays to manage information efficiently. The stored data include book records, user records, borrowing records, and fine records. In terms of system capacity, SmartLib can store up to 100 books and 100 users. In addition, each user is allowed to borrow a maximum of 5 books at one time. The specification ensures that the system can manage library resource efficiently while maintaining a simple and organized data structure. Overall, the system is designed to be reliable, easy to maintain, and suitable for basic language management operation.
Okay, now I will present about the key feature. In this project, we have the 8 key feature. Okay, so let's to see. First, is view all book, which display complete information for all available books. And second, is key feature is view all user, which allow the librarian to view registered user detail. And third key feature is we have data registration to easily add new books or user into the system. And fourth key feature is calculation management, which handle daily library operation like borrowing, returning, and receiving books. And five, the key feature is the search book feature allow user to quickly find book by entering either the author's name or the book title. And six is analytics, which provide insights such as the most borrowed book, most active user, overdue tracking, and financial report for funds. And second last key feature is report generation, which scratch detailed summaries for individual user, library inventory, and borrowing activity. And finally, the eighth key feature is easy. Before closing, the system automatically check for overdue books and sends an email reminder to those users.
Next, input structure. The first one, add book module. When registering a new book, the system will record the ISBN, title, author, year, and a category of the book. Second, add user module. To register a new member, we need to input their user ID, name, and user type. For example, they are a student or staff. The third one, borrow book module. When a user borrows a book, the system will record the user ID, ISBN, and borrow that. Next one, return book module. Same. The system will record the user ID, ISBN, and the return that. Last, search book module. To make finding books easy, we can search the author or title. Okay, next we go to your output structure. For view books, the system will display the complete book list. For view users, it will show a clear user list for admin to manage account. For the borrow book module, the system will generate a borrow receipt as a proof for the reader. For the return book module, the system will output a return receipt. If the book is overdue, it automatically calculates and displays the fine. Analytic module, the system will compile the data and output a statistic report. It can help us to understand library usage. And the last, for the report module, the system can export a user or inventory report for long-term record keeping. Then there are two formulas we use in our system. The first one is due date calculation. The standard borrowing duration is 7 days. So the due date is equal to borrowing date plus 7 days. Example, the borrow date is 9th of June 2026. So the due date will be 16th of June 2026. Again, overdue fine calculation. The fine is 50 cents per day. Example, the due date is 16th of June 2026. But the user returned the book at 17th of June 2026. There is 1 day late. So the user needs to pay 50 cents for the fine.
Today, I will present the workflow architecture of our library management system built entirely in C++. So to ensure our system is robust, intuitive, and modular, we design our execution paths using a highly structured menu loop that aligns perfectly with the project requirements. As you can see across the slide, the logic is entirely modularized using structured conditional branches to seamlessly handle data administration, transaction processing, analytics, and dynamic reporting. So let's begin with the first part of our flowchart, which handle initialization, administrative tasks, and day-to-day circulation as detailed in the slide for the first part. So the application launches at the start block and immediately prompts the librarian with a main menu via an input selection prompt. So if the selection matches view all books, the program routes to the print books function to display a complete table of the book catalog. Similarly, selecting view all users call print user to display the register user list table. And for administrative data entry, choosing data registration asks for a secondary choice. And if the librarian enters add book, the system takes input for book title, book author, book ISBN, publisher, and category. And if they choose add user, it requests input for username, user ID, and user type. So moving into everyday operation, selecting circulation management lets the user choose between three key actions. For the first one is borrow book. It will capturing username, user ID, book ISBN, and borrow date. The second one is return user. It will capturing return details and the return date. Or our optional features, reserve user, to handle book reservation with a reserve date. And also, any invalid choice within these branches display an invalid selection message and circle back to the top. So if the librarian selects an option outside of these categories, connector 1 passes the execution flow to the second phase of our system. So moving into the second part, the flowchart outlines how our system manages information discovery and data-driven insight. So if the librarian inputs search book, they can choose to search by author or by title, both of which prompt for the search term and display matching book information including the author, title, and current book status. And for systematic overview and monitoring, selecting analytics fulfills our project guidelines by outputting calculated fields for most borrowed books, most active user, overdue book status, and a consolidated financial report tracking outstanding fines. So when the report module is selected, the system branches out to generate three specific documents: an indie user report showing individual user details and loan history, a LIP inventory report detailing the status and deadline of books, or a borrow active report displaying a summary of total borrow book and a total active borrowing user. And finally, when the librarian decides to shut down the application by selecting exit, the system displays an exiting system message and safely terminates at the end block. And for all other active commands, the logic ties back into connector 2, returning the user right back to the top of the main menu loop in figure 1b, which is the first part to await the next instruction.
Alright, so now I will present about our coding part. So for our coding, we designed it to run directly in the console using a clean, easy to read menu. So let's look at how the program store information. Alright, so before dividing into the functional menu, let's take a look at our data structure. So to track our library asset without relying on a database, we utilize a parallel array limited by defined system capacity. So firstly, we declare two variables, name max book and also max user, and we set at 100 elements. So for books, we may track the titles, authors, ISBN, book years, book categories, and alongside dynamic state like availability, and we declare the status for our name book is borrowed, and for the next is for user. So we may capture the names, user ID, types means separating students or staff, and user email, and also keep the historical counters for active borrows, and also the total financial fines for the user. So for data handling, we integrate the standard C time library and defining seconds in day mathematically at 24 hours times 60 minutes times 60 seconds to support robust real-time date comparisons. Alright, so next, one of the unique features of SmartLib is its ability to handle system dates dynamically via through the standard Unix timestamps. And we built two essential sub-functions to handle it. So first is convert to timestamp. So the convert to timestamp takes a human readable day, month, and year, and after that set up a C++ standard time structure. And after that, it will return to a unified time key integral through MK time. And the second one is format timestamp. And for format timestamp is roll as a inversely, and it processes store for the timestamp back into a clean formatted like DD means date, and month means MM means month, and YYYY means year string for our visual layers. So this architecture ensures that our system handles due dates, returns, and the extension easily down to the second behind the scenes. Not only that, this architecture also allows the library to send the reminder email since the book is near the due date. Alright, so next, let's move into our operational function. So in this add book and also add user, the system blocks inputs if storage capacity is maxed out, like here, and runs linear lookup to ensure duplicate ISBN, yeah, and also the user ID. So it cannot be registered if the ISBN or user ID is duplicate. And after that, our circulation management control the lending logic. So when a user call borrow books, the program verifies their existence, check if already hit their maximum borrowing limit of 5 books, and confirm the book current status. So if successfully, it automatically computes due date and exactly 7 days into the future. So when a book is processed in written books, the system calculates overdue balance. And if the current written time step exceeds the due date time step, it calculates the net day late and penalties the account balance by 50 cents per day. Alright, so next, to improve user accessibility, we implemented a search query mechanism in search book, and user can choose to search matching titles or specific authors, and the logic process a linear sweep across our parallel records and renders formatted tables showing matching items along with their immediate live availability. So as you can see inside our inside the video, so the user may choosing whether author or title. So additionally, we include a reserve book. So inside the reserve book module, this allows user to log an available asset into their account quota. So to establishing a formal pickup window and calculating predefined placeholder due dates inside the function of reserve book. So it's easier the user to may pre-order their book, but they did not want to get now. Alright, so next to administration, we built a comprehensive telemetry dashboard to split into two main functions. So first is analytics and the second is report. So inside the analytics system, look at historical metrics, and it looks through all record to isolate the library most frequently check out book title and highlight out the most active user to for borrowing book, and it also screen all active loans against the running system to display and immediately notice for overdue books and complete with a total financial audit of all collected and also unpaid system fines. So for secondary is report. So inside the report modules, it allows administrative staff to generate sub-reports, isolating a single user file history or reading out a complete structured inventory statement of the entire library facility. Alright, so before we go into the main menu, I want to talk about the most critical logic patterns used in our code. If you look closely at our function, like adding user, borrowing books, returning books, and reserve book, so you will notice we use the exact same concept over and over again, which is double checking if a record already exists or if the ISBN or user ID has been duplicated or else. So in simple words, we call this the roll call concept. Alright, so one of the most important concepts in our code is how we double check if a user book is already registered or not. Just a example, since we're using this concept along our coding, so we just took a concept of inside double check user or book. So first we declare a variable. So inside add book function, we declare a variable named book and start with -1. And since the array start with 0, so we start with -1 means not found. Alright, so we use a for loop. After that, we use a for loop to look through our records one by one. So if we find a matching ID or matching book ISBN, we save the row number and break to stop researching. And after that, if our variable is no longer with -1, the system knows as a duplicate exists, and it blocks the entry and will correct the output already registered, or this ID already registered, or else. So we also reuse this concept to protect data in add user, add book, to prevent messy duplicates, and also in borrow books and return books to find the exact row number so we can update the specific user fines or active loan or active status. So this simple loop is the backbone that keeps our entire library database accurate and organized. Alright, so last we go to the main menu. So everything comes together within our main menu and execution loop. So when the system launch, the operator establishes the initial system tracking date, means the system will require the user to enter the date today, and the smart lib will preset the parallel arrays with 10 books along with a diverse collection of pre-registered student and staff profile, so the system is ready to use instantly. And about switch, the switch blocks is process user to input safety inside a well-conditional framework. So finally, when choose it is picked up to exist, our exist procedure loops through our entire database one last time to flag overdue files, outputting an automatically notice simulating email to reminders the account or the user holding overdue materials before shutting down cleanly. So as we can see at the exiting system function. So first, it will using the concept just I explained it, and it will double check is it have any user holding overdue materials, and after that, if no, it will correct the output no reminder needed, or if have, the system will automatically send the reminder email to the user. Alright, so that's all for our coding. Thank you.